Hello, everyone that is watching this, either going to be watching live or watching after the fact on YouTube. Thank you so much for being here. This is fun speculation on YouTube, and this video or stream is actually going to be a little different because I just want to have something I want to talk about. You know, there's something I need to feel like I need to talk about. And it's something that's important to me as a gamer, right? And I think there's a lot of people in the gaming community that kind of feel this way. So I felt like, hey, you know, like it's okay to talk about this stuff. So I'm gonna kind of let it all out there when it comes to my feelings with Ubisoft right now. And where Ubisoft is headed, the direction of the company, the games that they are putting forward in development, and kind of the history with Ubisoft, and why I am not okay with a lot of this stuff, right? So if you guys enjoy this content, I super appreciate it. If you drop a like, share it out, you know, subscribe to the channel. If not, that's cool too. But this is something that I felt like, hey, it's worth talking about, right? So let's get into it. First with the history, right? I grew up playing lots of different types of games, right? Sports games, arcade games. You know, I played shooters, just whatever. You know, I played lots of genres, RPGs. And then I remember the first time I played a CLoWnZ game, and that was Rainbow Six. And I remember thinking, wow, this is different. You know, like this is like slow, it's methodical, it's tactical, it feels like it's more mature. It feels more serious. You know what I mean? It felt like your decisions really mattered, you know? It wasn't just like, hey, go and run around and die and respawn, you know? It felt like it was important in a way. It was just different. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm talking about, but that carried through to the other CLoWnZ games that I ended up playing, like Ghost Recon, then Splinter Cell, which had become my favorite. All having great story, great multiplayer, but they were focused in more of a serious way. CLoWnZ brand, based on books, right? Based on the characters and all this stuff. So, what's up, Neo? How's it going? Hey, babe. Thanks for hanging out. These games stood apart from all the others, right? In their own way. They had their own unique flavor, and that lasted for a long time. I mean, I'm talking about over 20 years now, right? And Ubisoft has had control of the brand, and they had done a good job for a long time. They had done a good job, especially in the 360 era. We got things like Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter and GRA 2 and Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2. Then we got Splinter Cell Double Agent. Then we got Splinter Cell Conviction, right? And then Splinter Cell Blacklist. There was a lot of great CLoWnZ games in that era. Then it rolled around. Oh, Ghost Recon Future Soldier. Even a lot of people really like that one. Now, what do we have over the last generation, right? We had Ghost Recon Wildlands when they turned Ghost Recon into an open world playground style shooter. And then Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which launched horribly in horrible conditions, never should have came out in that shape. Now today, if you play Breakpoint, I would argue that it's a good experience because it is slow, more methodical, even though it's open world. You can still have a more serious experience with that, which I do appreciate. But wow, the game was in such a bad state at launch. I remember in the 360 days having these online battles, you know, that were just so serious, you know, so tactical. Hey, you go here, cover that corner. You go here, cover that corner. Everything was so precise and planned out. And it felt like you would imagine like a realistic scenario, right? And that was some of the points of the Clancy games for me. This past generation, we got Rainbow Six Siege, which was multiplayer, and they got that right with that game, right? And it was a single player story, but they still got some things right with that. And here we are, going into this next generation where they had completely skipped a generation of Splinter Cell, a generation of console. Never got a Splinter Cell game. Wow. That's just like crazy because that's like their most popular character for the Clancy brand. It's Sam Fisher. And they just let it die. Now, we can ask ourselves why did that happen, right? Why did that happen? Well, there's several reasons why. Okay. Supla Hellboy, they can't figure out how to make money off of Splinter Cell. They can't figure out how to turn Splinter Cell into a games as service, I believe. And in the Xbox One era, they couldn't figure out how to bring Splinter Cell into an open world style. Ubisoft has this identity problem where all of a sudden they're all in on one thing. Assassin's Creed worked. So then all of a sudden, every game needs to have outposts that reveal more of the maps. They brought that to Far Cry. Far Cry worked. Now all of a sudden, all the games need to be open world because open world games, according to them, sell better. Ghost Recon turns open world. Now Rainbow Six works. So now all the games have to be monetization, season pass, battle royale, or not battle royale, but free-to-play style monetizations in it. Because even though Rainbow Six isn't free-to-play, like you had to buy the game, the style of monetization within Rainbow Six Siege is that same model of season passes and all of that. So they've kind of taken models from games like Fortnite and other things to monetize that game. And that's probably their biggest moneymaker right now. So for them, it's like, how can we implement that system into every franchise that we have? Because that's what works, according to them now. Well, they want to take it to the Clancy brand with something like X-Defiant. Now, I can't talk about my experience with X-Defiant in any kind of way, but I can talk about the overall sense of what they're trying to do with these games. This cover that you're seeing here is everything wrong with Ubisoft in one image. They have completely lost the plot and lost the focus on what their brands are about. They own the brand, so I guess, does that make it okay? Because they can do what they want with their own franchises? They got the Clancy brand by purchasing it from Tom Clancy. Tom Clancy is no longer with us. How do you feel that Tom Clancy? What do you think Tom Clancy would feel if he saw this image on the screen? This is what his brand has turned into under the care of Ubisoft. We have Splinter Cell agents running around looking like idiots. We have Splinter Cell agents making fun poses. Smirks on their faces. Yeah, right on, man. That's so cool. Yeah, Clancy. What? Come on. That's not what the Clancy brand is about. For anybody that grew up playing these games, this image of these Splinter Cell agents standing on this concrete floor of graffiti with this XD, it makes you want to puke. What's up, Rick Payne? What's up, Key? Yo, Rick, give me a minute, dude. I'll get that to you. I don't understand why this is what they're putting out there. I do not understand how they can look at this as a team of executives and be like, this is the right decision. This is the marketing for the Clancy brand right now. This is what it has turned into. I was just playing a little bit of Splinter Cell Conviction, which came out on 360. It still is a great game. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is so good. I was playing Deniable Ops, going around a map, taking out enemies in different ways. So much fun. Stealth, serious, hearing the enemies chatter back at me. Shooting out lights, climbing up on the pipes, ducking around cover, rolling out of view. There's so many fun things about Splinter Cell. And they won't make it because I feel like they are putting things like this ahead of decisions like that. They're putting games like this where they're trying to capture the Fortnite audience, right? Ahead of living up to their brands, living up to the fans that have supported them over the years. This is not a game that was somebody's passion project. This is not a game that is some creator's vision of like, hey, this is what we need to do to make an excellent game for the Clancy brand, for Ubisoft. This is a game that was the idea of a circle of executives sitting at a table, marketing people, figuring out the best way to monetize the Clancy brand. And I don't think it's going to work. The best thing for Ubisoft and the Clancy brand is if this game completely and utterly fails. Because if this game succeeds, and if this game is a huge success, this is now what the Clancy brand will be. This has no right being labeled Tom Clancy's. Leave the name out of it. Change the outfits. Come up with something else, right? Now, let's say you have the decision. hey, let's do this game, this game, this game, and then have this as also a fun thing, right? Just a fun little extra thing. Hey, we can live with that. That's cool. Maybe you're reaching out to a different audience, you know? I can live with that because you're keeping the source material alive. You can't. This is not the way to keep the source material alive. There's nothing else here. Keep the source material alive and then bring this in as an extra. If you want to know how to monetize the Splinter Cell brand, I can tell you. Ubisoft, please. This is not what fans of your franchises want. You're not making games for the fans of your franchises anymore. You're making games purely for everybody else. Adam, is that Adam Hanan or Hanan? Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. He says in the chat, they also put Tom Clancy on a game with alien zombies. Yes, you're right. And if you want to go even deeper into this, the next Rainbow Six is a zombie or alien game. Alien zombies, right. That's crazy. Like for the Clancy brand. And if you want to take it another notch out of the Clancy brand, hey, what did we hear about the next Assassin's Creed? Oh, they're not just doing it to Clancy brand fans. They're doing it to Assassin's Creed fans. The next Assassin's Creed looks like it's going to be a games of service multiplayer thing. It's like, what is there left? So here's the games that we believe have some free-to-play type stuff, you know, X-Defiant, or not necessarily free-to-play, but a bastardization of the brand, potentially, right? X-Defiant, Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six Extraction. Skull and Bones was supposed to be a pirate spinoff from Assassin's Creed. Who knows what that is now? No new Ghost Recon news as of yet, but we know what happened with the last game. Heartland. Hey, let's take the success of The Division and turn it into a free-to-play experience. I think it's free-to-play. I'm not sure. Like, is this going to stop? Their last free-to-play attempt failed miserably. Hyperscape. You know, The Division is great in what it is. Like, why not stick with that? You know what I mean? Like, they had a lot of success when they updated the game for next gen, and all of a sudden it picked up. That's a Clancy game that felt like it was, you know, in the Clancy world. And guess what? This is what they're even doing with those characters now. Because the Outcast and the Cleaners come from The Division. And, oh, not to mention the Wolves who are in this come from Ghost Recon. This is blatant. This is about as blatant of a bastardization of a brand that I've ever seen. Now, Ubisoft has other problems. They have a lot of problems with stuff going on in their studios that has no right to be happening. Stuff that people have been complaining about and raising the flags about for a while now, and nothing has truly changed. So is this the most important thing that they need to fix? No. They need to get their house in order. And I think a lot of the culture that permeates through potentially Ubisoft is running and bleeding through to the type of games that they're putting out, because the priorities are just not in check. There has to be a balance. I understand you have to make money. I understand you need to make money as a company to survive. I understand you need to please your investors, and you need to grow, and you need to show increases in this and that. But you also need to respect your audience. You also need to respect the brands that you have created and the people that love them. You need to respect the people that have played your games for over 20 years. You can't have this without the other. Come on, Ubisoft. Get your shit together. Like, look at this image. Those are Splinter Cell agents on the screen, looking like jackasses. They are. And guess what? In this game, they're first person. First person shooter people. Splinter Cell agents. They would have never done this before. Never. Come on. Okay. Now, Ubisoft, you want to know how to monetize or make money off of these brands, right? Just make the damn game. Make the damn game that people have been... It's gone trending every single time a Ubisoft show is about to happen. Every time there's a Ubisoft conference, every time there's a Ubisoft anything, what goes trending? Splinter Cell. Why is that so difficult to understand? They need to make a freaking Splinter Cell game. And how do they need to make that? Right? How should they make a Splinter Cell game? They should just make it like a Splinter Cell game, right? Like this, take Splinter Cell Conviction, take Splinter Cell Chaos Theory as inspiration, right? If you really want to say, hey, we need inspiration because we don't know what to do with this franchise now, so we're just going to put Sam Fisher and everything else, right? No, if you need inspiration, look at those games as your inspiration. Those games can be your inspiration because guess what? You hear my doorbell ringing. Those games are great. And those games are seen as kind of, depending on who you are, the pinnacle of that franchise. So, I absolutely think that's what they need to do. Now, how can they monetize it? There's lots of ways. Hold on real quick, guys. I'm going to see who's ringing my doorbell. Okay. Yeah, we're good. All right. If you make the Splinter Cell game that it goes trending every single time you make an announcement, you're going to sell lots of copies of this game. People have been asking for it for a long time. If you stay true to what Splinter Cell is, if you bastardize it like you're doing everything else right now, people are not going to be interested. Market it properly. If you want to know how to make money off of the monetization of it, have a fucking multiplayer mode like Spies vs. Mercs, which a lot of people that love multiplayer will tell you that Spies vs. Mercs was one of the best multiplayer modes ever made. The only issue that people had with Spies vs. Mercs back in the day was that the servers sucked. If you had today's servers running a good version of Spies vs. Mercs, like the one from Double Agent or the one from Chaos Theory, that game would freaking explode. It would take off because it was incredible. The people that had designed and made those games knew what they were doing with balancing, with making a fun multiplayer asymmetrical experience. You had third-person spies on one side. You had Rainbow Six style mercs on the other, right? And guess what? It was a blast to play. You could also play co-op in those games with your different spies. Now, if you want to figure out how to monetize this game, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to solve your problems, Ubisoft. You're going to get to make the Splinter Cell game that everybody wants. And then you're going to be able to monetize the crap out of it, okay? So, hey, hear me out, Ubisoft, because if you're listening, please, you can do this. I have faith. You have the talent in the studio. You have the developers that want to make stuff like this. I know that. I know the devs actually want to make these type of games. You are forcing them to make stuff like this. Or I don't know if I'm pointing the right direction. This, yeah. So, when you make this mode, Spies versus Mercs, and you also have co-op, make it a focal point. Don't hide it behind a bunch of menus, right? You have your single player campaign. You have Spies versus Mercs right there at the launch screen. Campaign, Spies versus Mercs, co-op. Make it 3 things right there. Campaign, Spies versus Mercs, co-op. Okay, right there, you automatically, when they launch the game, have 3 options to dive into. Okay? If they're not interested in the campaign, they'll go right to the Spies versus Mercs. If they're not interested in the Spies versus Mercs and they want to play co-op with their friends, they can go right into the co-op. Okay? Now, how do you monetize this? Okay? One grand overall system with your season passes, where you can unlock visual customizations for your spies and for your mercs, right? You can give them different color, cool looking goggles. You know, go ahead, go for it. If that's what it takes to get a Splinter Cell game, I'm for it. Weapon skins. If that's what it takes, I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Let's get some badass looking Splinter Cell gear, you know, like really cool stuff, right? That you can unlock. You know, they do this with the Division. It works on there. If you give people stuff to work for that separates them individually as a character, people are, if they love the game, are going to buy it. Okay, if that's what you need to do to make these games, then let that happen. But keep the core element of the game what it is. Splinter Cell needs a great single player experience. It needs a story arc. It needs those sandbox levels where you can go multiple paths and take out your enemies with different decisions and how you're going to take them out. In my opinion, Splinter Cell also needs great co-op modes like Conviction and Chaos Theory had, where you can team up with other spies and go and run through levels and take out the enemies by working together. Some of the best co-op I've ever played. And then it needs that competitive Spies versus Mercs. If they do all of these things and bring it all together in one complete package, this game will sell. And not only will it sell, you will sell content. You can keep it going, like Rainbow Six Siege has kept going and going and going. Could you imagine if Rainbow Six Siege had launched with a single player campaign and then that was also the multiplayer? That would have been amazing. So if you need that to happen, make it happen. If you're looking for inspiration on the Spies versus Mercs mode to go with, look no further than Double Agent's Spies versus Mercs. Now, Double Agent was not the most popular Splinter Cell game, but if you look at the Spies versus Mercs mode, it actually had the most balanced gameplay. The only problem was the servers were crap back then. And that wasn't just in that game, that was in a lot of games. You're not going to have that problem today. You're not going to have these laggy servers that it's hard to get a game going and all of these things. Take that core gameplay experience, modernize it, bring it out to the audience today. Allow them to upgrade, customize, unlock things, right? Just like you do with your other games. It's not hard. You know, it's easy to think of this stuff. Devs want to make this kind of stuff. Let's do it. Let's get it, right? That's my plea. That's my plea. This is not what people want. This X-Defiant thing. What you're doing with Assassin's Creed potentially is not what people want. People want a Rainbow Six Siege. People want a Ghost Recon. People want an Assassin's Creed. People want a freaking Splinter Cell. Hey, people want Rayman. Where's Rayman at? You know? I know you got the Nintendo game, Kingdom Battles. That sells on the Switch, but where's the Rayman platforming games for Xbox and other systems now? Not everything has to be one design. Not everything has to be the same model. I remember listening to Ease Guillermo on an interview with Ryan McCaffrey back a few years back. And he pretty much blatantly said, yeah, they couldn't figure out how to make Splinter Cell because open world games are more popular and they sell better, right? Now it's, hey, they're moving on from the open world thing to this free-to-play style thing where everything is going to be that. So let's not do that. Give me a second, guys. Here, I'm going to read some comments in the chat. I'm trying to get this link for Rick Payne. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working for you, Rick. But if you're still interested in that, there you go, brother. They just need to make a new game. You're right, Rick. And Stubb says you worry fans will expect too much and hype it up and the dev won't be able to deliver. The same fear you have for Fable. Yeah, that's always going to be a thing, and that just depends on the quality of the game that they put out, I think. You know, I think Halo has always suffered from that because Halo's always had such high expectations. But then when it comes down to it and what they release has been like not meeting some people's expectations. But that kind of goes with time. Like now Halo, everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's so freaking amazing, right? Because what they're putting out there is a high quality product, right? People are really getting behind it. Ubisoft has amazing talent. They have some of the best devs in the world. They have such extreme talent that they make some of these crazy visions that Ubisoft has passable, right? They turned, like, as bad as Breakpoint launched, they've turned that around into a solid experience now if you play it. They worked and they fixed that game. They are probably going to make this X-Defiant thing something that is fun to play. They are. You saw what they did with the Snowdrop engine on the Division and the Division 2. I mean, wow. I mean, that's just an amazing stuff. You see what they are constantly putting out there with Rainbow Six Siege. We see what they're doing with Far Cry. How Far Cry is like the lone wolf still, right? The big game that there's still single player that they're putting out there, right? We see what the talent is doing with that. They have good dev talent, but it's not being utilized properly. The talent there is being like used just for stuff like this shit, like this garbage. I'm not talking about how it plays because I'm not speaking on that. I'm talking about the idea. I can't imagine any Clancy person going into a room and saying, "Hey, let's freaking, I got an idea, guys. This is gonna be our next game. I've been dreaming about making this game for my entire life. Okay, let's take some Splinter Cell agents, some wolves from Ghost Recon. We got the outcasts and the cleaners from the Division. You know, all these guys in the Clancy world. You know, let's make a Call of Duty game, and let's make them all fight each other. You know, in these arena death matches. Like, and we'll like put like cool graffiti and graphics. You know, like for the kids. You know, like." You know, they're gonna do fun poses, and you know, we're gonna go with this like crazy fun art style. You know, it's gonna be so cool, man. You know, I've always dreamt of making this game. You know, oh, dude, it's gonna be amazing. No, that doesn't happen. I can't picture like one of these Clancy guys going in, somebody that actually likes the Clancy brand that would want to make a Clancy game going into a pitch room and making that the pitch, unless that's the only thing he knew that they would accept, like to keep his job. You know, like I don't know, like how does this happen? Like how does this become what? How does this happen? Free-to-play, fast-paced arena shooter that combines intense gunplay with personalized loadouts and specialized factions as teams of gunfighters called Defiance battle for domination. You know what's a cool idea, guys? When we pitch this game, when we announce it to the world, let's stand in an empty warehouse with graffiti on the walls. That'll really get the idea across. Yeah, that's how we're going to reveal it. We need an empty warehouse with graffiti on the walls because that's so cool. I can just imagine skateboarding in there right now. Uh-oh. We got God's Geeks. We got Neo in the chat. Oh, last time that these two were together, Neo got timed out by somebody who has a unwieldy thumb. How's it going, Cam? You couldn't sleep last night because you felt so bad. Put a 1 in the chat if you want a new Splinter Cell game. I'm just curious. You know what? I can do a poll. Or how about this? Would you buy a new Splinter Cell game? Asking the community. We'll see how that goes. I'm gonna follow that up. If they get it right. Yeah, back. If it's like this, the answer is a resounding no. Ooh, we got somebody that said no. Oh man. Hey, raise your hand if you said no so I can eject you from the chat. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Somebody's not a Splinter Cell fan. It's okay, though. Not every game has to be for everybody. Yeah. Neo says, I just want a traditional Splinter Cell. No fucking open world. No radio towers. Sync points. Nothing. All right. So we got 6 votes. 9 votes. That's enough, I think. Y'all think 9's enough? I'll end it here. Okay, so 9 votes in this poll. And it's 1 person said no. That's good enough for me. Right? 8 out of 9 people would buy a Splinter Cell game. Now, if X Defiant was a regular priced game would you buy it? That's the next question. I'm curious to what the results of this are going to be. If X Defiant was a regular price game, would you buy it? Because the free to play catch makes people gonna try it out, right? Michael Patton, I agree. Sam Fisher is the best character that Ubisoft has ever had, and quite frankly, he's one of the most popular characters in gaming history. Most recognizable. That's why they keep sourcing him out to all these other games and just to keep him alive, because they don't care about the brand of Splinter Cell, but they feel like they still need Sam Fisher. They want to make money off of Sam Fisher. Well, Ezio is one of the top characters as well, but they moved on from him pretty quickly, right? Okay, so we got 9 votes on this, and it was a resounding no. Everybody said no. They would not buy X Defiant if it was a regular price game. And Digital Tiger says not even going to try it for free. Yeah, Neo says that you wouldn't buy it, period. We already have enough of these twitchy, colorful games. Okay, so I'm going to make I already kind of told you how I'd monetize Splinter Cell. But I'm going to give you my pitch for a Splinter Cell game. And just in case, the rare chance that somebody from Ubisoft sees this. Hey, Cam. The all are one. Right on, dude. Have a good one, bro. I'm going to give you my pitch for the story for a single player Splinter Cell game. Okay. Now, because Michael Ironside he's getting up there in age. Okay, and let's just be real, right? And you want to keep this character in this franchise alive. You gotta think a little bit and how you can maximize the value of what Sam Fisher is, but also carry forward the brand in a smart way. Okay. And this game, this is gonna follow like something that I think could resonate with Splinter Cell fans, but also be something you can sell as well. Okay, Splinter Cell has been around a long time. Sam Fisher's getting up there. Okay, you bring out Sam Fisher on a do or die mission, right? At the beginning of the game. He's older now, even older than he was before, right? He's not as nimble, not as effective as he used to be, but this mission is so important. He gets captured. He gets captured, but guess who has also been training and gone through, whatever you call it, special agent school. His daughter, Sarah. You remember Sarah? I remember Sarah. His daughter would be old enough at this point. You take over his daughter, Sarah Fisher, as the main character. And this is her first mission, because she demands that she goes on it, and she's the only one that can probably find a way to reach him. And you go and you try and save your dad. Towards the end of the game, Sam Fisher is saved. He's no longer going to be active duty. He takes over as the head of Third Echelon. Sarah Fisher can now carry forward as the main protagonist, with Sam Fisher still being involved in the games. That leaves it open. If you ever want to make prequels in the future or whatever, you find a good voice actor that can do Michael Ironside or whatever, bring that out. But this would be a way to actually capture the existing audience that loves these games, that has a history with it, while still moving it forward for a new audience. And then you do all the Spies versus Mercs stuff. You do the co-op stuff, and you put in your customization, like season passes or whatever, with all that to make your money off of it. You know what I mean? But that alone, that story, could be the selling point to get people interested in the franchise. Hey, Pong, dude, I can't help it, man. This is too important. If you just, as somebody that just told you this idea for a story, right, for Splinter Cell, and then you go and look at this garbage image again, this isn't what it's about. This is like, don't do this to Assassin's Creed. Don't do this to Clancy. Don't do this, period. Unless you keep everything else as the source material. You put forward good stuff. You put forward true things. Evolve it. Change up little things here and there. That's fine. We understand that kind of stuff. But to go since 2013 without a Splinter Cell game now, where we know that, I think several years ago, there was supposed to be one announced at E3 when that Walmart leak came out, and every game that was in that Walmart leak ended up becoming true, except for Splinter Cell. There was something there. You canceled it. You tabled it. You did something. I think the crazy thing is, looking back on the history of Splinter Cell, there was always an argument. Hey, what's better? Is Splinter Cell better, or is Metal Gear better? And you had fans of both franchises kind of duking it out over, like, hey, which franchise? Metal Gear's gone right now, okay? Kojima is no longer making Metal Gear games that we know of, unless there's something else crazy that happened. The last Metal Gear thing they tried to put out completely flopped because it was just another cash grab like this. Right? Like, it was something stupid. It was bastardizing the brand. People hated it. People saw right through it. It didn't capture Metal Gear fans, and it didn't capture anybody else. Without Metal Gear in the picture, there's no great stealth, like, military style games out there. Like, you have the world is your oyster right now. You can be the only one, and you're sitting there still putting this out instead of looking at that as an golden opportunity. I mean, oh my gosh, you know how many stealth fans there are that love stealth games, that are craving a new big AAA stealth military style game? There's so many. That's why Splinter Cell trends every single freaking time. Every single freaking time Ubisoft has something. Every single time Ubisoft has an announcement that they say, oh, we're going to have an announcement. Or they say, oh, we have a show coming up. Or they're at E3. Guess what trends? Splinter Cell. Why does that happen? Because people want it. It's not just me. Get your head out of your asses, Ubisoft. The executives that are making dumb decisions and putting forward shit like this instead of stuff that the fans actually want. I don't understand as a gamer how this image exists that I'm looking at on the screen right now. It shouldn't be here. Anyway, guys, that's it for now. I just can't. I can't not keep saying stuff about this. It's just like so ridiculous to me. In the future, hey, I'm gonna try X Defiant and see what I think of the gameplay and all that stuff. And whenever it's not under embargo, I can let you know how the game plays and everything like that. That would be interesting. This was not about that. This is about the idea of the stuff that they're making and why. There needs to be more balance between your decisions. So, well, guys, I appreciate you. Thank you for stopping by. I was just a rant, a long one, I know, but you guys are awesome for hanging out here. Digital Tiger, Back from Dead, Rick Payne, Key, Hellboy, Pong, Neo, Cam, Back from Dead, Michael Patton, and more. You guys rock. Appreciate it 100%. And if you want to see me in a more lighter mood, hey, I'll be playing games a little bit. So maybe I'll be playing some Splinter Cell Conviction just for the heck of it. So come hang out when if you feel like it later on. And I will see you guys then. So take it easy. Ubisoft, let's go. You know, I want to be a fan. Let's go. Come on. All right. Take it easy, guys.